All right, guys, rough loss for the Utah Jazz and really a statement win for the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's talk about it as the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys, before we get into it, let's just give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Use promo code HoopsNerd to go set up. If you use promo code HoopsNerd, you'll get matched up to $100 for signing up. Go to Prize Picks. Sign up today. I would appreciate it. Let's see. We got that out of the way. The Jazz lost, guys. It was a bad loss for the Jazz. Really impressive win for the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks first. Milwaukee was without Giannis and was without Chris Middleton tonight and absolutely stomped the Jazz. Absolutely crushed them. And so, when you're missing the best player in the NBA, you're missing probably your best. I don't know if he's their best. I guess, how would you say it? Your best scorer in the mid-range, your best maybe shooter in Chris Middleton, kind of the guy that can get you those buckets at the end of the game, like we saw in that finals where the Bucks won, where you saw just Chris Middleton making just epic shots at the end of the game. And then Jrue Holiday defense, and then Giannis being just the most dominant player in the NBA. It's just a team that has so many different elements. And this, if you're a Bucks fan, you've got to be excited about this because this is a team showing that they have everything it takes to win another title. Bobby Portis was absolutely crushing the Jazz tonight. From the get-go, he set the tone and dominated Utah, who could not get a rebound. And Bobby Portis just punked them. 22 points, 14 rebounds. He was a plus 15. He just absolutely crushed the Jazz tonight. It's hard to understate how good he was. And when he's coming off the bench and you have that level of play from your big off the bench, man, that is good stuff. Grayson Allen, we know him from the Jazz as someone who they traded him away, and he promptly became a pretty good NBA player, but tonight he was really good. A nice 6 for 9 from the field, 13 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. He's just a solid rotation NBA player. And then Brook Lopez, who had those monster stops at the beginning of the game against Lauri Markkanen, it was part of the message the Bucks were sending. 8 for 15 from the field. He was also just crushing the Jazz. 18 points. Utah had no answer. And then finally, the player that was probably the most important and one of my favorite players in the league, just a guy that is just the essence of underrated, is Jrue Holiday. He's the best guard defender in the league. Not guard defender, he's a guard who defends. Arguably the best defender in the NBA when you consider what he does, how he guards the perimeter, locks people down. Tonight, if you go rewatch that game, and I was watching it because I wanted the Prize Picks, missed it by 2 points. Will Hardy didn't care about the Prize Picks tonight by sitting Markkanen, who I need one more bucket. But anyways, Jrue Holiday in 27 minutes crushed Utah. And what was interesting is Javon Carter's a really good guard defender too. How do I say this? I sound like a moron. He's a really good defender who happens to play guard. Anyways, guard. Javon Carter guards the perimeter and was really solid, 7 points. And that was a luxury for the Bucks because what it did is Jrue Holiday just guarded Lauri Markkanen all night and off the ball. So he just kept Markkanen from getting the ball, kept him from doing what he wanted, would steal the ball, all these things, kept Markkanen uncomfortable. And that was kind of the game, to be honest, because Markkanen couldn't get his shots. 9 for 16 too. Jrue Holiday was just knocking down shots. 3 for 6 from 3, just dominant. 8 assists. The Prize Picks it hit, and then 21 points. Just dominant stuff from Jrue Holiday. Not much else you can say. They were missing their 2 best players, 2 of their 3 best players, I guess, in Giannis, who's the best player in the NBA, and then Chris Middleton, who's just an elite wing in the NBA too. And they just dominated the Jazz. So what else can you say? Let's talk about the Utah Jazz now. Utah came into this and it was not impressive from the start. Markkanen still was efficient. 7 for 13 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. He was knocking down shots, 18 points. But the whole starting lineup was basically pulled because of just the lack of toughness, the lack of juice. I'm not surprised not a lot of people are interested in watching this video because it wasn't an interesting game to watch. They were just not playing hard. They didn't have the juice. And it made me wonder, we've seen this before. Oh, by the way, can I just give a shout out? Thank you, Ryan Qualtrics, for the hat. He did a Twitter giveaway, and I was one of the people chosen. I got a new Jazz hat. This is yellow. It kind of goes see-through because of the green screen. But this is actually the yellow, which I do like, and the black. So anyways, shout out to Ryan Smith. Thank you, Ryan, owner of the Utah Jazz. Markkanen was efficient, but he was just taken out by Jrue Holiday, who's like a foot shorter than him. Kelly Olynyk had an ankle injury, left the game. Cannot defend, what's his bucket? Brooke Lopez, who was just dominant in this game. Can't rebound. So, a lot of the things the Jazz win games with was incessant hard play, going to the rim, never giving up, coming and playing hard, and all these things that have kind of defined this team. It wasn't there tonight. They just got their butts kicked, and Olynyk was one of them. It's funny how he can still fill a stat sheet. 12 points. He knocked down a few threes and that, but just wasn't great. Jared Vanderbilt, where were you? Where were you, Jared Vanderbilt? 0 for 5, couldn't do anything. 0 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. If Jared Vanderbilt if you're able to go get John Collins for Jared Vanderbilt, I think you got to think about it, because, man, this is just tough stuff. And when he's not knocking down threes, it's really hard. Like, what is he bringing you? Because the defense for Utah tonight was really rough. And so, we saw that rumor. I still haven't made a video about it. I should make a video. The most interesting thing about the rumor, and it came from Jake Fisher, who, by the way, if you're not following him on Twitter, Jake Fisher is the guy. He is giving you those rumors that are legit. I mean, everything Jake Fisher told us last year came to pass. And that rumor he came out with was the Jazz offered Vanderbilt for John Collins. And honestly, it makes sense when you consider how the Jazz can't rebound. You put in John Collins, who can hit 40% from 3 and can rebound the ball and is an uber athlete. It's fun to think about what the Jazz could do with that. And he's pretty solid. He's not as good of a defender as Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt, when he's playing well, is a high-level defender, but I think Collins has turned himself into a pretty good defender. So something to think about, especially when the Jazz are losing to the Bucks, who didn't have 2 of their best players, and the Jazz got spanked. Not a great sign. Jordan Clarkson, he was actually pretty efficient tonight. Jordan Clarkson was one of those guys that kept the Jazz in this game. Even though he's a minus 13, the Jazz lost by, almost 30, 26. And so Jordan Clarkson being just a minus 13 is actually really good. So Mike Conley in his last 2 games has come back, has not been great. Not been great. Actually, I honestly, Alexander Tufts, this hat is pretty cool. I don't know if they sell these. This is kind of like it's kind of a custom thing. Maybe I can get like $1 million for it. The finisher. Also, Collins' 3-point percentage has been low this season, but 19-20 season it was around 40%. Can I just say something about that? The culture in Atlanta right now is awful. And John Collins has been on the trade block for like 3 or 4 years. After a while, he's got to be so tired of it. And playing with Trae Young sucks. No one likes it. No one likes playing with Trae Young. And he's trying to get his like second or third coach fired. He doesn't, and it's the Trae Young show, but he doesn't defend. Everyone else has to just kind of sit in the corner. If you're John Collins, I mean, you get to sit in the corner and wait for Trae Young to pass you the ball so you can maybe take a 3. I mean, after a while, that gets old, And you hear people online, these players get online, they read SLC Dunk, they read Peachtree Hoops, they read all these things, they're on Twitter, they see all this stuff, and John Collins is seeing all these people saying he's overrated, he sucks, or whatever, his 3-point percentage isn't good, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? He's probably annoyed. He's probably like, you know what? It's not my fault. But I'm not getting set up like I should be, And so you send them Jared Vanderbilt, get back John Collins, and I think you'd see a renaissance. We saw it with Lauri Markkanen. I would argue that John Collins is a much better bet to come to your team and play lights out than Markkanen was, because we had never really seen Markkanen have an elite season or a high-level season. But like you said, finisher, like in 1920, he was around 40% from 3, so we know he can do it. He may just need to change the scenery, and I bet you John Collins, if he came to the Jazz and was in a in a just like, because the Jazz have a shared system on offense where it's like equal opportunity. If you get the ball and you're open, you take it. You know, how refreshing would that be for John Collins? You get the ball, and you've got like, Javon Carter or someone smaller than you, and he can just post up and then dunk it. And by the way, he's a head above the rim athlete. He is an epic athlete. Has just some mind-blowing dunks that are just also born in Layton, Utah. So Utah native John Collins. Come home to Utah, John Collins. I would like you on the Jazz. I think you could be incredible. And plus, here's the other thing. I mean, let's do a poll. I want to do a poll. For all you here, you guys are amazing because this was a crap loss and, not fun. Let's start a poll. Tank, not tank. I think when you lose a game like this and you have your coach pulling players with like 9 minutes left in the fourth. Well, I needed one more bucket for my prize picks, and I would have hit it tonight. I think you got to think about it. Because look, here's the standings for the Jazz. Honestly, every player, they all sucked. Here's the analysis. They sucked. Although Beasley was hitting threes like crazy in the first quarter. And Kessler came in, had a pretty good night, although could not rebound the ball either. So no one had it. I don't know why Rudy Gay keeps playing. I don't know. Although Fontecchio can't guard. Did you know the Jazz's best defensive duo, actually, if you look up duos, I believe it's Rudy Gay and Walker Kessler. Interesting. Rudy Gay still defends. So, let's see. How's this poll going? We have one vote. Come on, guys. We got 10 people watching. Someone vote in the poll. I vote to tank, but my vote doesn't. I don't get to vote in my own polls, apparently. But anyways, that's why Rudy Gay plays his defense, but he can't shoot a basketball anymore. So, it's rough. So, Fontecchio comes in, and he's back from, it was injury or illness, I can't remember, and he couldn't hit his three tonight, but he came in for offense to try to bring the Jazz back into the game, and they couldn't hit a shot. Well, we got 4 votes. No one wants to tank, I guess, out of 4 votes. Is that scientific? I think it's something you do have to think about, but can you do something where you trade Jared Vanderbilt for John Collins and you keep, obviously, Lauri Markkanen, you trade Olynyk, you kind of trade some of your core guys, and then you just go with like Jordan Clarkson and John Collins and Lauri Markkanen and all these young guys, Fontecchio, Ochai Agbaji, and all these guys, and then you draft, and then you rebuild next year. It's something to think about, because if you can't physically dominate a team like the Bucks, who are a championship contender, what are you doing? I know it's been a lot of fun, and my numbers when we win are good, like really good. So it hurts me. It hurts me when they lose. I'm going to get nothing on this video, but I'm pro losing. It hurts myself. I am willing to take the loss, guys, because I want a superstar player. By the way, we saw that tweet today. Who is here? Basketball operation. Coaches. Brian Bailey. His name. He used to coach Miami. Didn't well. Now he looks. I'm trying to find his name. I get one of those jobs, guys. Advanced scout. John Larson. What's his name? He was at. Geez, look at the front office here. This is different. This ain't your Larry Miller's Jazz, by the way. The scouting department was like a couple guys. It was like Walt Perrin and a few. Just look at how many coaches. Oh well. Anyways, one of the Jazz scouting guys was at the overtime elite or whatever they're called. Fizdale. Thank you for Bill Ford Tough. Alexander Tufts, you saved me. Fizdale was at the overtime elite watching the Thompson twins. Should we do, is it time? Oh, assistant GM. Thank you. Well, we can. You're right. Associate General. Anyways, Fizdale was at the overtime elite. He was watching Amen and Asar Thompson, the twins. The twins. And I'm not talking about the twins that my Pee-wee team is playing against, my 1-on-1 basketball team. It was Amen and Asar, the 6'8" athletes who are out of this world. Guys, these twins are unreal. If you can get one of those guys on your team, it's unbelievable. But what if the Jazz had both twins? Both twins. You had elite wings on both sides of the ball. Gosh. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Anyways, maybe the Jazz are interested. So, all right, we got to go tinfoil hat tonight because I have a theory about what happened tonight. The Jazz got utterly dominated. The boards were bad. Look at this. So, the Milwaukee Bucks, total rebound. Total 54. Total rebounds for the Jazz, 29. Holy smokes. You know what that means? You weren't trying very hard. You know, I know the Jazz are a bad defensive rebounding team, but this is abysmal. Like, this is abysmal. That's effort. And, all right, it's tinfoil hat time, but what we do is this. Time to talk theories. You're here. Let's go off the rails. It's theory time on the Hoops Nerd channel. I think a rumor happened. We saw two rumors, Shams and Jake Fisher. Both of them mentioned John Collins. Both of them, by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. Both of them mentioned the trade. And the second rumor was interesting. Jake Fisher talks about it. It was, let's just do this. Let's just do this. Here it is. I wrote about it. Do you guys go to SLC Dunk and read every day? I hope you do. I hope you do. Here's the first rumor. In this article from Shams, he mentions Utah having interest in John Collins, which we had heard even earlier. And it's interesting when you consider that the Jazz tried so hard. Remember before the monster trade to Minnesota when the Jazz traded for like the entire city of Minneapolis? Well, before that, remember the Jazz had all those things going on with Atlanta with DeAndre Hunter. Well, guess what? They were probably talking about John Collins too. Anyways, it's back. It's back. And Shams Charania messages it, which means someone's leaking it. And we know Danny will leak. Danny will leak. Anyways, guess what? This was December 15th, on the eve of December 15th. Did I write this? Like, where I don't sleep. But anyways, this is from Jake Fisher. Let's just go to it. All right, here we go. Is that going to play sound? I hope not. So, where's the Jazz? All right, right here. Atlanta has continued its pursuit of Jay Crowder, and a new 3-team concept with Utah and Phoenix circled around league executives this week. The Hawks certainly view... So this is where Jake Fisher is crazy. You've got to follow Jake Fisher. He has got some... It's kind of like he's got a radio. You know when like some people have like a police scanner? That's kind of what he has. And he's got some source. It's got to be one of the agents that are like in with these. I don't know who it is, but it's a good source. Holy crap. But anyways, Atlanta has continued its pursuit of Jay Crowder, and a new 3-team concept with Utah and Phoenix circled around the league executives this week. The Hawks certainly view the Jazz as a potential landing spot for John Collins. There it is. Right there. What did Willy Wonka say? It's all crystal clear, black and white, clear as crystal. It's right there. It's right there. I think it's going to happen. And what I think happened before this game is the players found out about it. You know? I think the players found out about it. And what's even more interesting, tinfoil hat time, we've seen Walker Kessler close 2 games in a row. These are the tea leaves. All right, I'm predicting it. I think the Jazz are trading for John Collins this week. I think it might be like this week, and I think Jared Vanderbilt's going somewhere. And so, look, it says right here, this structure appears to be an expired idea that never gained significant traction due to draft pick compensation and other shortcomings. So Danny got difficult. Danny got difficult, but I think it's happening or something. What I think is also interesting, one thing we've got to talk about, this is now 6 games in a row that Nickeil Alexander-Walker plays really well. Off the bench, I mean, best story of this game, 6 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. He looks incredible. 14 points, 5 assists. Starting to look like a real rotation player. And he plays defense. He can steal the ball and plays pretty good defense. And like we've said before, good size. Do you need Colin Sexton if Nickeil Alexander-Walker is doing this? I mean, this is 6 games now. And this is on the road against the Milwaukee Bucks, being guarded by like Javon Carter and Jrue Holiday, although Jrue was on Lauri. I don't know. I think something might be coming. Colin Sexton's out. He's obviously got his ankle thing. But it's interesting. Would you rather have Colin Sexton playing or Nickeil Alexander-Walker doing this? No? And I know Colin Sexton's an offensive player that provides a lot of punch, but he's available to trade now. December 15th passed. That was the big day. We're in trade season now, guys. It's interesting. And look, he was up there in minutes, too. Look at this. 18 minutes. I mean, they're leaning on Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Did anyone else predict that? I know I didn't. Anyways, pretty interesting stuff, guys. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. It's time to shout out our All-Stars. Do I know how headphones work? Maybe. Maybe I do. All right, let's pull this up. Guys, if you would like to get your own nickname and support the show, you can also join the channel by hitting the button below. I would appreciate it. And if you haven't liked and subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Like and subscribe to the video. All right, let's see. Let's pull this up. All right, let's give a shout out to Built for Tough, Alexander Tufts, saving the day with the Fizdale assist. Ryan Perry, the legend, Jared Chanderville, Chan Therick, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de Baco, Baby Elliott Matson, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Just Buckets JB, Zap Watts, getting the preview up on SLC Dunk. I hope you guys all went and read it. Total Game Domination TGD, Christian House Money to Haas, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, X marks the spot for Zintas, Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer, Ezekiel Raisibe, the man from Down Under, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, Dono Schooley, schooling all of us, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Kubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Well, guys, it's an interesting crossroads for the Jazz. That was a really rough loss. That was bad. Oh, by the way, let's do this before. Oh, look, coming to this. Lauri's got to score more points to get to that All-Star game, by the way. This puts the Jazz at 17-15. Tough loss, but Dallas can overtake the Jazz. Even Minnesota could overtake Utah. Rough. Very rough. All right, let's give our nightly. See what happens in the lottery. Let's reset this. Are you all ready? Are you ready? Utah ends at number 12, which gets us Dylan Mitchell, 6'7", freshman, small forward, Texas. I don't know anything about him. Let's see. Small sample size alert. I don't know. Got good size, good weight. 19 years old. Freshman forward. I don't know. Is that good? Nice size. I always like size. Can't teach height, as they say. All right, guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure if you haven't, go share the love of the channel to others around you. And go to Prize Picks, use promo code HoopsNerd. It's the 12 days of Pickmas. They had a free one today for Zion, but Will screwed me. One more bucket is all I needed. Got it. Oh, well, it's okay. It's still a lot of fun. All right, guys, I will talk to you next time.